the call to action can really be fun. And I really wish people would make it more fun, because it's fun to think like your audience.
Yeah.
It's fun to think, ooh, would that get me? And then you're like, ooh, I'm good. Like, that would get me even.
Right.
I just thought of it, you know?
Hey friends, and welcome back to the In Focus podcast, episode number 12. I'm your host, Austin Black with Backroad Productions, where we specialize in creating marketing campaigns that your customers just cannot ignore. I am so glad to have you join today as we talk about the call to action. Now, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, you're thinking, why are you talking about a call to action? Let's back up a little bit, because this podcast is focused entirely on video strategy. And it follows the 7 steps that we outline in our video strategy workshop. Now, most people, when they go to produce a video, they just produce it thinking that a video is going to work for them no matter what. And reality is, it's going to actually fail because there was no strategy. If you don't know who you're talking to, what they need to hear, and how to actually connect with them and measure your performance, then your video is not going to do anything for you. So our goal in this podcast is to walk you through the exact process that we use to create compelling, engaging, and profitable videos that actually bring a return on your investment, that drive sales, that create brand awareness, and that make you proud of the work that you have produced. In today's episode, I'm going to visit with Kellie Lasack of Roan Communications. It's a fun episode. We get real, we get honest, we have a lot of fun talking about this wonderful topic of calls to action, the sales element of your video that honestly we have a hard time doing. It means some people, like myself, if we're not true salespeople, it can be hard to ask for that sale. It can be hard to be direct in that regard. But here's what I love about this conversation. We decide that you don't have to be direct. You get to be yourself. You get to be authentic. You get to create a call to action that suits your brand. And that's what really works the best. If you aren't comfortable with being very short and direct and saying buy now or call now or schedule a consultation, you can get a little more creative if that fits your tone. And that's one of the things that we're going to really talk about, is how to find your tone, how to be personal with your call to actions, how to make them fit your style and your interest, the way that you want to communicate, so that it's natural for your brand, and therefore your customers are more inclined to actually do business with you whenever you make that request or make that ask. So here we go with Kellie Lasack. A lot of fun talking about calls to action. Hey folks, we are here on the In Focus podcast. I am with my good friend Kellie Lasack. Kellie is from Iowa, where she grew up raising shorthorn cattle on the family farm. And she discovered early on in life about the incredible world of agriculture. And that led her to attend Iowa State University, where she graduated in 2012 with her Bachelor of Science in Agriculture Communications. Kellie now owns her own business, Roan Marketing and Communications, where she specializes in social media, writing, and photography. She's also an advocate of the agriculture industry and loves to share about life on the farm on her blog, Kellie for Ag. Kellie found her prince farming along her adventures, and they were married in September of 2016. And together they live on their farm with their dog, Lily, their cat, Angus, and a herd of Angus cattle with a few of Kellie's shorthorns mixed in. So I am so glad to have Kellie on the In Focus podcast today. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for having me.
You bet. It's going to be an exciting conversation. We get to talk about that lovely topic that everyone just admires when it comes to marketing, and that is the call to action. But before we jump into that, let's get to know a little bit more about Kellie and Roan Marketing. Tell me about your business, how you got started, and how you help brands tell their story.
All right, perfect. Well, to get started, I always like to tell the story of why I called my business Roan. First of all, I have so many friends off the farm, and they like to pronounce it Roan. And I'm like, it's not Roan, it's Roan. And they're like, well, I don't know what that is. So for me, Roan was, as you had told me, as you had told everyone, I grew up on a shorthorn cattle farm. And they are known for having a roan hide. And I really thought about it, and I was like, it represents me. It represents what I want to do, because if you think about it, Roan is really different.
Yeah.
It's creative and it stands out from the crowd. And so not only did I want to bring in my part of agriculture and have an agricultural based name, but something that represented me and what my business could do. So at Roan, we're all about building your brand, building your business, and helping you reach the audience you want to reach. And this is through, you know, how you had said, I really enjoy photography and writing and social media. And those are all ways we do it. But at Roan, we help you with your website. We help you with your all social media channels, whatever you want to do. We help you with your, let's say you want some postcards mailed or some flyers built for your business. We help you in all areas. And the fun thing is, and I really, really enjoy doing this with clients, is I like figuring out the tone, the voice of the client. So one of my favorite clients, they love to be witty, and I love to do witty posts. And so it's always fun to really branch out and do different things with different people, because every client that comes to Roan, just like a shorthorn, there's no shorthorn the same color, just like a snowflake. Right. There's no client the same at Roan, and everyone is treated with their own delicate, intricate details to make their brand what it wants to be.
I love it. I'm glad that you started in that way, because I had never asked you, but I was wondering where the name came from, because it is so different and unique. I mean, you know, as far as I could tell, it didn't have anything to do with your name or anything else. I'm like, okay, what's the point of Roan? So I think that is an awesome story that you have on and how that separates you, how that is your brand of being different, standing out and calling that attention. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like I said, this is such a topic that, it's a fun topic because we get to kind of poke the bear a little bit on this. But for some brands that maybe they're new to marketing, or they haven't done any real intentional marketing. So they hear, you know, CTA or call to action, like, what does that even mean? So let's start at the basics of what is a CTA and why should brands include it within their campaign?
Perfect. You know, it's so easy to forget that not everyone knows all of our terminology and what everything means in the AgCom world, you know? So great point. So call to action. You think about it and you're like, why did they pick that name for that? Call to action. We're not calling in the troops, or, you know, you're simply asking or telling your audience to do something. So when you read click here, that's a call to action. So a call to action is asking your audience to do something to lead them somewhere else, to provide them with something more. So all call to action should have a benefit for whoever clicks it. So let's say I have click here to learn more. Well, I better learn more when I click that link, you know? So in a nutshell, that's really what a call to action is. I mean, do you agree? Do you have anything to add to that where you think it's broader than that, or is that kind of a good synopsis of CTA?
I think that's one of the difficult things about this topic is it is just that simple. So, you know, there is so much around this, but it is literally just telling your customer exactly what to do. And that's all it comes down to. But that's what makes it so difficult, as we'll get into it with this discussion, is how do you do that effectively? How do you do it subtly? How do you do it, you know, without being pushy? Because everything that we do in business has to draw that customer to another point in the journey, and has to engage them in some regard. And I love your point there of if someone clicks to learn more, by God, they better learn more. You know, it's that is the hope. It's not click here to learn more and then okay, now contact us. That's not how it works. You know, you have to give them something to engage with. So I'm glad that you brought that up at the beginning, because we'll talk about that as we go on here. I think that's an excellent way to address just what this topic is. So what are some of the best ways then? We know that it's simply telling your customer what to do. That's can be easy, it can be difficult, it can be challenging, it can be exciting. I mean, depending upon what your approach is to sales and marketing, you can love call to actions like you and I do, or you can just be completely scared about it because you don't like asking people to do something. It feels out of your comfort zone,
Right.
but we have to do it. So let's dig into how you make an effective call to action.
So this is great. To begin with, though, I really want to stress and point out that it really does, for all call to actions, it really does depend on your brand's voice and your tone.
Absolutely.
And in my head, voice and tone are two different things. So to clear that up, your voice is how you present yourself. Are you loud? Are you using lots of exclamation points? Are you super all the periods? Are you very serious? And then your tone is, are you witty? Are you funny? Are you serious? Are you a mixture of both? Mm-hmm. So depending on all of those really can enhance your call to action. Yeah. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to keep saying click here, click here. You don't have to. So a lot, and like you said, a lot of people are like, I don't like doing the call to action. I don't want to ask for it. You don't really even have to ask sometimes. It doesn't have to be a question mark. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be, as you write, click here, you're telling them to do it, which is fine. They want to click there to read more or learn more or get this special offer. Yeah. But other ways, so if you're witty, so if your client is witty and you're not afraid to, be sarcastic and funny, then some things you can do is, let's say, for instance, you are selling, let's say, a skid loader, skid steer. I don't know what everyone else calls it across the country, but in Iowa, we call it a skid steer or a skid loader. Well, if you're my dad, you have a Mustang still. So, we like to tell people we have a Mustang, but it's actually this old skid loader. But anyway, so let's say you're selling a skid loader and you are witty. Mm-hmm. And you're like, the newest skid loader has the biggest bucket, the biggest engine, and this thing will never let you down. And then your very last sentence is, but if you don't want that, keep going. Where you're like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Now they're putting me in a spot where I have to click this link because that is exactly, I don't want some old piece of junk like Kelly's dad drives. And so it's something where you don't even have to specifically say, click, call, read. Mm-hmm. It's simply directing them to do something. And so it can be very simple. It can be very blunt. But for those of you who are like, I don't really want to tell my client, like how you said, they're too nice. Then you can say, if you would like to read more, click here. You just add different words in front of it to make it come across more politely. Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee you, click here is so widely used that no one overthinks it and like, wow, they're being pushy, because they're not. Right. And we know we're not. So, but your tone and your voice really do determine how you ask for that call of action. So a lot of people, which I always think is fun, I do witty examples just because we all know the serious ones where it's click here and etc. So a witty one is, click here if you want to learn how to actually tile your fields correctly with the greatest equipment. Mm-hmm. We'll wait. And then, people are like, wow, they're confident, Right. So it's really about how you go across things and how you want to reach your audience, how your audience responds to you and who you're trying to reach. So let's, another example is depending on your age range. If I'm reaching to older guys, let's say like my dad's age where it's, 50 to 70, and I couldn't be that witty with him. I couldn't be like, well, wait, Because
Right.
they'd be like, what are you waiting for? Like, I don't understand that,
Right.
So it'd have to be one of those things where you change it to something along the lines of, you've waited your whole life to not work so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Click here if you want to quit breaking your back every day, and it's something that resonates with them. And the click here is just the beginning point. The after point where it offers something
Mm-hmm.
is really what gets them. All call to actions have to offer something, whether it's reading, a discount, a promotion, reap the benefits of clicking here and entering your information. But every time it takes you to a web page, because all call to actions should take you to their website,
Mm-hmm.
where you can read more information, you can learn more about them, you can virtually test drive a new skid loader, something, and really get people excited, because they look past it as pushy when you're offering them something.
Right.
I don't ever do a double take when someone's like, here, have a Reese's peanut butter cup. Okay. I'm not saying they're like, whoa, you're being pushy. Don't push your chocolate on me, buddy. So you really have to think of it as you're offering something to benefit them. So you're really not, you're just leading them to where you want to go. Does that all make sense? I mean,
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people, consider the call to action just be that buy now, shop now, click here, order now. I mean, just the bam, 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 bam of that direct sale. And when it comes down to it, I mean, every time you ask your customer to do something, it's a call to action. Whether it's sign up for our newsletter, like our Facebook page, check out our website, watch this video. Every one of those is that CTA. So it's not all about just every time I want them to buy, I got to tell them something. We're presenting that all throughout the process. Well, folks, we're having a lot of fun here, but I'm going to interject with my own call to action, and that is to ask you to sign up for the video strategy workshop that we offer at Backroad Productions. Now, why do you need to do that, you might ask? Well, here's the thing. We're halfway through this process, and if you have followed step by step, you kind of get the grasp, or hopefully, of what all goes into an effective video strategy. Why it's so important to identify your audience, figure out what their needs are, create your message, get down to what they're supposed to do. And it's so much stuff that we know it's hard to do on your own. So have you ever started a process and then realized that you really didn't know everything you needed to know to complete it? I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to get scared from using video because it's just a lot of work and you don't quite understand it. I want to help you overcome that challenge. I want to help you dominate video marketing because video is such a powerful marketing method. It is the number one marketing method of choice of brands all across the country. I want you to be part of the excitement. I want you to be part of that movement, that momentum, and I want you to succeed at it. So to do that, I want you to sign up for my video strategy workshop so I can help you accomplish your goal. We can sit down with your entire team. We can go over your brand, your company, your products and services, who you're marketing to, and exactly how video will fit into your campaign strategy. When it's all said and done, you get a customized outline and map that you know what videos you're supposed to produce, how you're supposed to create them, what they're supposed to accomplish, and how you can measure the success of that campaign. If you're interested in learning more about this workshop, about this process that we use that gets results for brands just like yours, then visit backroad-productions.com/workshops and find out exactly how the video strategy workshop can make your brand win with video marketing. Now we're going to go right back to my conversation with Kellie. What are some of the call to actions that you see, whether it is direct or more that transitional, that just really seem to kind of throw people off and make them willing to click that button? They're not scared of the buy now or the shop now or the sign up, but they're actually excited about clicking that and seeing that. What's been some of the language that you have seen used in those instances?
So for the language, the power of the word you is incredible. So you make everything about that client and that customer, that new audience. So your call to action is, you don't know what you're missing, or you need this to better your business, and it hits.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you are writing for a publication, or if you are doing a call to action, or if you are just doing a website, using the word you is such a powerful word, because people read it as, ooh, they know me. They act like they know me.
Yeah.
And then the other things about it is, I've noticed that people respond really well to call to actions when you literally lay out their problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds goofy, but for example, and everyone listening and watching, they're gonna know. Okay, so all of you that have Facebook, and maybe one time you guys looked up a protein shake or a weight loss plan, not judging, been there, do that. So then your Facebook is flooded with all these, these ads for weight loss supplements or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you start reading it and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like this girl knows me.
Yeah.
And it's because you build that relationship. You're connecting with your audience. And when I read it, I'm like, okay, yep, same struggle, same, everything. I'm going to click here to see what she did. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that resonates with them. So in the agriculture world, it works the same. For me, it would be, raising cattle. And it would be like, do you suffer from pink eye, fight flies all summer long? Have out your socks and spray and, use your parasite control, and you're just not getting ahead of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you refuse to admit defeat. I'd be like, yep, click. You don't even have to tell me to click here, because I'm like, let me find out how this is going to help me.
Yeah.
So anything, when you point out their problem and you're like very descriptive of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really necessarily a language, which you include the word you in there, where it's like, you've been fighting flies and you hate watching your cows be eaten alive by these things. And then you're like, yeah, I am. So it's very targeted to, you need to really find the audience that you want to really shoot your message to. And this isn't, this isn't just boosted or promoted posts on Facebook or websites on Google, anything. You don't have to do that, because the audience that's already following you, they already care about these kinds of things.
Right.
So it's something that you can still use. And let's say, so I'm referring a lot to social media using call to actions, but your website should definitely have call to actions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say, for instance, you offer all these supplies for bovines. At the end of it, you're like, hey, now that we got one problem solved, do you have issues with this? Click here
Mm-hmm.
to be shown another product that can help you. And that's how really websites work really well, because if you notice when you shop, everyone has, oh, these are recommended products for you down below. Right. Oh, that's a call to action right there. Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, you are not just showing me those clothes for the heck and fun of it. Right. So it's, the call to action can really be fun. And I really wish people would make it more fun, because it's fun to think like your audience. Yeah. It's fun to think, ooh, would that get me? And then you're like, ooh, I'm good. Like, that would get me even. Right. I just thought of it, So it's one part of really advertising in a whole. And you can go in advertising. I mean, you can go so many different routes. You can go the sad, emotional way, or you can go the happy, lovey way, or there's so many routes that you can do this call to action where, and it's so funny, Austin, that you even said shop now, buy now. I didn't even think of those, because I just I have so much fun with doing the other ones where it's, really where people read it and they're like, okay, but I just want to learn more, know? So go ahead.
Well, so that's that perspective right there is something that we forget so many times, because everyone, all they think about is the buy now, shop now, order now, click here. And we get so tired of it. We get, so bored with it. And when it all comes down to it, we just, unless we just have to have it, like, yeah, I don't need to do that. But whenever you take that personal approach, and whenever you put your voice and your brand and your message behind the language of that and think, what would I like? It completely changes that equation, that perspective. And then you begin to have fun with it and you begin to engage more with it. And then it all becomes this whole environment where you don't feel bad about asking for that. You actually look forward to it because you're like, okay, are they going to like this as much as I do? And it completely changes that approach. And I even forget about that a lot of times because I am, I'm very much a straightforward, this is how it needs to be done. This is how we're going to do it. Keep it, not by the book, but let's keep it simple, stupid. And a lot of times, people aren't encouraged as much by buy now as they are get this amazing offer, So you really have to think, who am I talking to? What is my voice? And what would I click on? And those three things right there, I think, like you said, are just completely transform that whole mindset of creating this call to action and making it be effective and repeatable and something that you aren't scared to do. So I love that aspect of it.
Like one of my favorite examples. So this one I was so proud of, like your call to actions, you feel like you need to like frame them and put them up on your wall because this one I applied myself. So I had a client and they have an award that they give out, but you have to enter the award. It's not one of those where they select someone and give it. You have to submit your work and things to be selected. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I wanted this award, why would I want it? Yeah. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? I would want bragging rights to set that little trophy up on my wall and be like, hey, did you see this when you walk into my home? And so that's what I did. My call to action was, want to earn bragging rights? Click here. Or earn your bragging rights here. I didn't even say click here. I just said earn bragging rights. And I mean, that was the best doing post out of everything because it resonated with other people with this kind of award. Like, this award isn't to, pat my back. This is definitely to be like, I'm getting pretty good at what I do. So, so it's one that you can really have fun with. And you're so very right when you're like, you don't have to be so straightforward with this, where it's the buy now, click now, shop now. But you can say that too, as long as you offer something.
So this has been running through my mind the last 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm just trying to find a good spot to put it in. Because I've heard you talk about both the positive reaction that someone's going to get, as well as the negative of if you don't do this. So in your experience, because, I'm one of those people that, like I said, I like to just use the short, straight to the point language, but I'm loving the element you're talking about of using more of the descriptive terminology to create that. What have you seen when it comes to using the positive, proactive communication and language versus the if you don't, you're going to miss out? Has there been any correlation in which one of those seems to work better?
So the positive always seems to work better. So how I said before, like, you find something that they've been struggling with and you list out their problems, but you're always at the end, it's always a positive where there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I can help you through this. I have a solution. Do it now or you're going to miss out, or that only works really when you have a deadline for something. Yeah. So don't miss your chance. 1 day left. Enter here or click here. And for those, I don't know, they do work well, but I don't know if that's because people are literally like, oh, I have a deadline. I have 1 day to get this in. I'm going to click that link. Right. So because I noticed the further away you are, where it's like, don't miss your chance, and they have a month,
Yeah.
I don't have as many clicks
Right.
as I do. So the deadline way, that works really well. But, I never say anything like, your farm is going to go down the tubes if you don't click this link. That's not, you don't want to go that way. I mean, that's,
Right.
very dramatic.
Yeah.
But it's more of, you want to use that on awards, deadlines, upcoming events, stuff like that is where you want to be. Don't miss out on your chance to see this, or be a part of something great. I don't ever like to do the negative stuff according to a product, but there's always a but. If you're witty, then you can do it.
Yeah.
So if you're not witty, don't start threatening your audience, because they're going to be like, this is coming out of left field. Like,
Right.
they are threatening me. But if you're witty, it comes across as more of, you're just being funny.
Yeah.
Like,
It's more personal.
yeah, we know. Like, yeah, for sure. So, like I said in the very beginning, it all depends. But always, 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 I think the positive, because people like to improve themselves. Everyone is number one for themselves,
Right.
And so I feel that when you're able to find something that strengthens them, helps them, improves them, they're more likely to click. And I do recommend, for every call to action, this is something where, once again, a lot of people who aren't in the business are like, thanks for telling me that, I didn't know. But those of us in the business are like, yeah, duh. So is to create a trackable link. So bit.ly.com is one. That's the one I use all the time. I know there's other ones, but to create a trackable link, so you can say who's clicking.
Right.
And you can see if this call to action is actually working. And that's a good way to do it, because you always have to provide a link, even if it's in on your website, even if you have it a word hyperlinked or whatever, still use that same bit.ly link, because you can track that. So there's ways to measure this also, which every business loves, because marketing is a very hard business to track.
Right.
So if they're like, well, I got you at least 500 people to click, so that's you.
Exactly.
I got you that far, buddy. I'm just kidding.
So with that concept, since we're talking more specifically to video throughout this podcast, are you able to just include your call to action as text along with that video and have that link? Do you want to have that call to action within your video? What is the best way to communicate that call to action and to capture the results of that?
So this is one of those things where it's more of a personal opinion. Because for me, if you include a link in your video that I cannot click on, bye.
Yeah.
I'm lazy. Everybody is lazy. If you're going to make me watch that video and you're going to make me watch it till the very end to get that link, I'm out.
Yeah.
So if you include like a short description with the content, and you just say, this is what it's about, learn more here, or check out what silly thing Austin said, click here, something that they're like, ooh, I want to see what that is.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you need to include a clickable link. So if you can, and this is your expertise, so if you can include a link in your video that is clickable, I don't even know if you can. Is that possible? Please tell me.
If it's on YouTube, then you can put that link on YouTube. But in a video in and of itself, unfortunately not. That's why we like YouTube so much.
Right. So it's, I thought I better stop talking before I made a fool of myself if this was a new option I missed. But I just, people are lazy. Yeah. And put that call to action, but still put it in your video too. Yeah. Because have you ever heard how it takes
3 times?
Well, it's more, it takes 3 times for sales. And if they see that same link in your content and then in your video and then maybe you have it at the beginning of your video, at the end. It's almost like, oh, shoot, I remember this Austin kid with this beard who did this thing, and this was the link, and they do.
Yeah, the beard got trimmed before season 2 of this podcast started, thankfully. For those of you
Don't
that
worry,
didn't
we're
see,
all
go check
suffering.
out my Facebook page.
Yes, please do. It was quite the beard. Since I
My
know
wife was
Amish
so
people
tired of
can't
that.
listen to this, you would have gave them a run for their money.
I'm gonna have to try it again
Impressive.
sometime. Hopefully not under the same conditions, but I'm gonna have to try it again sometime.
Yes, and probably not during summer.
Right. Okay, now back to the feature presentation.
Sorry, I get sidetracked easily.
If we were talking about people with beards, okay.
There's a lot of women who could probably. We were talking about the links in the videos.
Gotcha. Okay, continue
and
on.
How I said, okay, we'll pretend that didn't happen. So seeing that link 3 times, I really find is influential in them remembering the link, especially if it's an easy one. So you always want to make your link something that is easy to remember. So for you, it could be bit.ly/BackroadProductions. Something super simple that people are like, I can remember that. And you know, when you go into Bitly, you'll see how you could do it, but capitalize your B, capitalize your P, so that those words stand out.
Yeah.
And it's not just a bunch of letters. But I think you need to still include it in your content. And as much as I would love to say, just put it in your video and people will go, we're all lazy and we need to be able to just click that button. Even if we wait till the end of the video, we'll be like, where is that link? Because I am not typing that baby in. So yeah, so it's, I mean, and you are the video specialist. So what is your experience with that? Maybe you have a different experience with that where you're like, people are still going to my link, even though I don't put it in the content.
So in my experience, it's kind of a mixture really, because I think that you have to say in your video what that call to action is. I mean, you have to have that verbal expression. If you can have it typed out at the end of your video or throughout your video, that gives it a secondary point of reference. And I've done that a few different times. You know, if I've had a link at the end of the video, I want people to go check out, I have it typed up there. But then, yeah, you always have to have that something in the description, whether it's on a YouTube description, in your Facebook post, just above or below the video on your website. You always have to have multiple points of reference because someone may not watch the video all the way through. They may watch the first half of it and just get enticed enough to go click at the link. Some people may not watch the video at all and go click the link. Some people may watch the video, see the link, and then realize, oh, hey, it's up here. I can click on it right here. So there's so many different ways you can incorporate that. You got to have it written down. You got to have it spoken, and you have to repeat it. And I think if you take all 3 of those points, then you're going to communicate that very effectively in each piece that you do.
Yeah, I think it makes a more, the word intense comes to my mind, but I don't want it to be intense, but it's more of making your call to, it's just putting your call to action out there. And it's not even saying within your video, hey, click the link down in my bio, or hey, subscribe, or, you know, it's, you guys, if you're all about this, if you like this, you like what I'm offering, love for you to follow me. Learn, you know, click below if you want to, or, you know, it's something where just simply relating once again to your audience is key to your call to action. We need to come up with a new name for call to action, Austin. The more we're talking about, the more I'm realizing we're not calling people to action.
It's a very boring term.
Yeah, we're providing assets for a fantabulous life is what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to come up with a hashtag for what CTA should actually stand for.
Yeah, that could get dangerous.
Celebrate the awesomeness. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good one off the top of your head, but bad at the same time.
Yeah, that would go good if you had the driest sense of humor. You could use that call to action maybe, but probably not would work for us.
Right. No.
So earlier you talked about, as you track those links and see kind of what's working, what's not. At what point do you change it if it's not working? How long do you wait before you decide, okay, this isn't as clever, as creative as I thought. Let's try something else.
So depending on your strategy. So I like to do, because social media is so fast paced and change, that I like to do just my social media calendars in a month's time. In that month's time, I like to go in and see, okay, so I use the same link. Bitly allows me to use the same link, but it tells me if people click from my website, Facebook, social media, or an email. And so I'll go in there and I'll see, ooh, okay, so it didn't go over so well on Facebook last month. So I like to give everything a month's chance. But if something is on super deadline, let's say I have 2 weeks to get something, I will pay attention to, I'll give it like 3 days. And then if I'm not getting any clicks, I change my messaging and I change my graphic or my video, whatever I'm working on. Because call to action, you also have to remember, is in your graphic too. It's very important to portray what you want to do, or what you want them to do. And for example, so the one that I told you before about the bragging rights, I literally put my call to action in the graphic and said, earn your bragging rights. Or earn bragging rights is all I put. And I had like a picture of the award and stuff like that. And so, it really went well.
Nice.
And so, so just depending on the time you have for a call to action. So I work a lot with events and awards and contests and stuff like that for multiple clients. So I'm constantly dealing with updating and changing those graphics, the look, the feel. And I'm figuring them out now that I've really watched that. But other clients, so they're trying to sell a new product. Okay, give it a month.
Yeah.
A new product isn't going to, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to sell all your products in a day. So it's so important to remember to be patient and to really focus on, okay, what's been going on in the world for our audiences. Okay. So for right now, it's May 13th. In Iowa, every single farmer is out in those fields planting corn or soybeans right now. Unless they have, auto steer, which I don't know anyone who does, but they're not looking at their phone looking for, a new tractor. Yep. So John Deere couldn't say, and John Deere, yes, is my example because I like green tractors.
We'll get a sponsorship for this later.
I got some connections. And so, John Deere isn't going to look and be like, wow, we really plummeted and did terrible this month. No, you did what, your audience are farmers driving your tractors.
Right.
So unless that thing is broke down in the field, they're not looking for a new tractor. And so you need to really apply that to also to rethink your marketing for next year. Possibly don't run those kinds of ads during planting season or harvest. And to, really focus on what's been going on in the world to make that, make the progress. And I know that's a really long answer to that question, but there's so many hidden details of why links wouldn't be working, especially right now with COVID-19. People have to be very careful because social media world, new items aren't Facebook's priority. They're not fitting that algorithm to go into your news feed. So there's just a lot of hidden things, but there are ways and to really think about it. But I really like to do a month and then really compare my other analytics, because if all the other numbers are down, there's something is happening.
Sure.
So
Definitely.
yeah. So yeah, sorry that's a really long answer, but there's a lot to put into deciding, when you should change the creative aspect of things.
Absolutely. It's killing me.
Are you gonna make it?
Well, we're getting close to being done. So with that concept, then let's get personal here, and let's find out what calls to action have you done that have worked really well, and which ones have not done so good.
Okay, so I've already told you the one that did really well for an award that I did, where it's earned bragging rights, where they get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the bad ones, I'd love to sit here and tell you, I am so good at my job, like that never happens, but that's not the case. Okay, so I tried, what is the old saying, Austin, where it's something about not giving the whole farm away? Is that just an Iowa thing? Maybe.
I
I'll have
think
to
I've
look
maybe
this
heard
up.
an element of that, but I can't finish your sentence for you.
Okay. Well, anyway, it'd be a lot better if I could remember it. That's unfortunate. But it's about not giving away all the information and just giving them little bits of it.
Mm-hmm.
And asking them to, click here to find out more or to continue reading this article. And I was one of those people who I was afraid that when they clicked that link, they were going to get there and realize they had to be a member of this organization to read the rest. So I put, must be a member to read. Members click here.
Yeah.
Too scared.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want my bounce rate on my website to go up. I was worried about all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just showing them like, okay, here's a lot of information, but you could get even more if you're a member.
Sure.
So being scared, like we talked about in the very beginning, you cannot do. So yes, when they go to this website, yes, they'd have to become a member to read everything. But once they click that, once they're following, our social media pages and they click that 11 times and they're like, I have wanted to know the rest of this information 11 times.
Yeah.
It is worth my $100 or whatever a membership is to just read these and improve, my career. And that has worked significantly better than saying members can read this or members, because as soon as someone who's a non-member reads that, they are instantly turned off. And they're like, well, I'm not a member. Check, keep scrolling. So that is an example of one of a bad CTA that I've had. And like I said, love to say that didn't happen, but it takes trial and error.
Right.
And you with my client and not my client. Well, I do with my clients, but I meant with their audience.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, it didn't, I was causing more of a fuss by pointing out people weren't members than by just acting like everyone was included. Because everyone can be.
It's funny that you
can't
mentioned
read
that.
Everything.
I actually had a similar deal on an email campaign I'd sent out. I had linked an article, and the website, you were supposed to be, you had to have an account and membership and everything. It was all completely free. But I was, same thing as you, I was scared that if someone clicked on that link, saw the box pop up that, to access the full thing, they have to create their account, that they would be thrown off by that. So in my email, I had a disclaimer on the link there that said, free account required to access it. No one clicked on the link. Here I was trying to be transparent, trying to be, avoid any conflict there. And just like you said, it caused more resistance because they felt excluded. by that
Mm-hmm.
than clicking on and going, okay, well, this is worth signing up for, and I'll go ahead and do this.
And I found that the word free isn't actually a good word to use.
Right.
I don't know if people have been tricked so many times with the word free, and then there's all these hidden fees, but
Yeah.
people are like, nothing is ever free.
Right.
So yeah, so it is remarkable that the more transparent you are, the more people seem to,
Mm-hmm.
revert back to, oh, that seems too good to be true, or that excludes me, and I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not going through that extra effort. So it's very interesting that we both went through that same kind of situation, and we're both able to learn that doesn't work well. Because did you track your link then, or
Yeah, I mean, it was in a MailChimp campaign, so I was able to see,
okay,
how many people went through there, and yeah, there wasn't a single click on that link.
and then you redid it, right?
I just went on and forgot about it.
Just went on with my life.
Pretty much like, oh well, it wasn't like a huge deal where they had to go check this out. Like, well, this would be a cool resource, and if you want to look at, yeah. So I didn't ever
Oh, okay.
on that. But yeah, just definitely something that if you are wanting people to go check this out, by all means, shoot out a different link and put a different CTA on it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, as we kind of finish up here, what is the most important element that people should keep in mind when they're creating their celebrate the awesomeness call to action?
Celebrate the awesome. I'm never going to be able to not say that now. So the most important part, wow, that is hard to narrow down just one, because I mean, I've talked a lot about all the different areas that you have to cover when doing a call to action. But I think truly and honestly, stop thinking about the click here, the shop here, the buy more, even the, read more here, and really make your content about your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end, you can say something as simple as find your happiness here, or we can help you, click here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the click here part isn't the hard part.
Right.
And that's not the part that tears people away. It's really finding and creating kind of a connection with your audience that really draws them in. And that is truly and honestly what makes your call to action work.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot forget to tell them to click or read. It sounds so silly, right? Like you could put a link at the bottom, but if you don't say click here, no one's going to click there.
Exactly.
I don't know why. It has been proven over and over again that you have to tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess those are two things. But relate to your audience, and then at the very end, tell them to click here or read here, because they need to be told what to do. And that's fine. But stop overthinking the click here and the shop more, because people just want to feel good in their own skin, and they want to do what's best for them and their family and their lives. And if you have something to offer to do that, that's what they want to know. They could really care less if you tell them to click here.
Right.
They do.
That's not the top of their radar.
Right. And I really think people overthink, and you said this in the beginning, they overthink the call to action so much, where, I got to have the right way to say click here, like press the right button. No, you don't, you don't have to say that. You have to relate to them.
Yep.
And make them feel like they're part of your business, your company, and you know what they're talking about and can help them.
Bam.
Bam. Just like that. Call to action done.
Awesome. Kellie, thank you so much for the incredible insight, information, the change of perspective that I think we all need every once in a while. I learned a lot. Hope everyone else did. I know I needed to go change some of my calls to action now. And we're going to develop a new hashtag for call to action. We're going to work on that, and we'll make that our new campaign.
We'll release it in about a month.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch for it.
Exactly. All right, Kellie, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for being part of In Focus. Enjoyed our conversation, and look forward to having you on the show again sometime.
All right. Thank you so much, Austin. I had a great time with you this afternoon, and I look forward to learning more from your podcast. And follow me at Roan Marketing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and click my website, www.roanmarketing.com.
Awesome. Okay, folks, you know what to do. Go make your call to action. Go to your website, go to your video, go to your marketing platforms, and make your call to action. Ask your customer to do business with you. Be personal with it, be fun with it, be genuine with it, but just do it. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Kellie and I, we had a lot of fun. We got real there, we did, and it was a great time. And hopefully you enjoyed the honesty of why calls to action are so important, and now you have the confidence to go make your own call to action. For more information on Roan Communications and how Kellie has helped her customers create brands that get attention, go to backroad-productions.com/podcast. Check out the show notes. And as always, if you enjoy watching this, or if you enjoy listening and watching to this podcast, please leave a review on the page. We would really love to hear back from you, to hear what you enjoy about it, what you want to see coming up in the future, and just how we can do better on this show. We're here to help you win and succeed with video strategy. So if you have a review, please leave it for us. We'll take a look at it, and we would really love to have that feedback. In the meantime, thanks for listening, and be sure to tune in next time to the In Focus podcast.